Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
The guest goes on at 35.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Josh Taylor, in tonight for Bob Pompiani, joined at the desk by the illustrious from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Gene Collier's in the building. Let's give it up for Gene.
Yeah, okay. I'm on.
Good to share the desk with you.
Nice to be with you, Josh.
Yeah,
haven't been together for a while.
We haven't talked in quite some time. I want to say it was probably the end of the summer, wasn't it?
Could be, yeah.
Probably preseason.
I've enjoyed your work on the Pirates postgame show with Jack Sorenzik.
I appreciate that very much.
Very good.
Thank you much. Jack's a great guy.
Oh, yeah. Great
Excellent
baseball guy.
Looking forward to getting to talk baseball, but we can actually start there if you want to. I'll tell you what.
Sure.
I'll give you a list. We can talk Steelers. We can talk City Game. We can talk ACC Championship, Lonnie Chisenhall. Where do you want to start?
Well, no one has called to mention that Croatia won the Davis Cup, I noticed. You want to start there?
I am if you are.
That's all I know about it, so if you want to take it from there.
You'll be the only one talking, but we can have that discussion.
Okay. Now let's do baseball. Lonnie Chisenhall.
Lonnie Chisenhall signing.
Yeah. I always kind of liked Lonnie Chisenhall. I mean, he's not somebody you build an offense around.
Right. More of a complimentary guy.
Right. He's more of a useful part when he's healthy, which he's not always been. And that's, I think, the curious part of this. You have a right fielder, Gregory Polanco, who, whatever you think of him, is probably your best offensive player.
Yes.
And the problem with him is that he's not healthy, and you replace him with someone who is not always healthy.
Seems ironic, right?
Yeah.
Seems like maybe not the best solution.
Or an unfortunate coincidence, at least.
Let's go and look at it, too. I'll ask you this question, because it's something you and I agreed upon before the show started. A left-handed bat with some measurable power.
Yeah.
He's shown at least at different spurts in his career. Like you mentioned, when he's healthy, he's at least somewhat of a left-handed threat.
So this is a good park for him.
Exactly.
In theory, yeah. So, I mean, he's maybe a more useful player for the Pirates than he would be for a lot of teams. So, we'll see.
Now, as we talked about maybe the limited risk with signing a guy like this, given his injury history, but the things he's able to do, are we looking at this kind of signing if Gregory Polanco's healthy? I think that's a fair question.
I don't know. General managers always say, we're always looking to improve the club. And I suppose this improves the club. But the club needs a lot of offensive improvement. There's still plenty of room for offensive improvement with the Pirates. That's their problem.
Now, let's shift gears a bit. We'll talk Steelers here because Ben Roethlisberger spoke in the locker room today, and one of the questions was, it was mentioned that there was frustration in the room after losing to the Broncos, but no panic. Ben Roethlisberger said, because there is no panic. He said, we're all fine here. As far as how you look at it, knowing this slate of games that are coming up, Chargers come to town next week. Of course, there's always New England that's kind of dangling back there in the background, kind of the elephant in the room. At 7-3-1, going into these last 5 games or so, how do you feel now about the Steelers' seeding chances? Right now, if the playoffs were to start today, they would start at the 4th seed, and they would host the Chargers, of all teams, in a playoff matchup. But your thoughts on the Steelers?
If the playoffs started today?
If they started today.
Is that what you're saying, Josh?
Yes.
Because we'll have missed Christmas if
we will have missed Christmas
today.
In which case,
it's not always a bad thing.
In which case, my wife will have a lot of phone calls.
Right. Well, I mean, their chances are not as good. But, I mean, I'm not one of these people who expects the Steelers to win every game. I mean, I understand that they're going to lose some games. They've won 6 in a row. They'd won 15 of the last 17 on the road.
Right.
Look at the Packers. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers and have not won a road game. That's how kind of spoiled we are around here. I mean, the Steelers go out on the road all the time and win, and when they don't, there's this tremendous civic hand-wringing which I still don't understand. So they're 7-3-1. They can still get a 2nd seed. They can still get a 1st seed in theory. So, I'm not alarmed, certainly.
Well, when you break down the games that they've lost, you have the 7-point loss on the road to Denver. You have the loss at home on Sunday night to Baltimore. And then you have the loss at home to Kansas City, which is right now one of the top teams in the league, and they're going to have a first-round bye if the playoffs were to start today. But then you have the tie on the road at Cleveland. I know a lot of people had a lot to say after this loss, but in the end, I'm still looking at the tie at Cleveland thinking that's way worse than losing on the road at Denver, which is a tough place to lose, or a tough place to win, I should say.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, it was funny, immediately after that Cleveland game, if you remember, Josh, all the players were saying, well, this feels like a loss. And then you turned around and they were 1-2-1. That game started to look like a win.
Right.
You know, then they reel off 6 straight, which they've done many times under Mike Tomlin. I mean, I just think they're a very good team. I think they're capable of beating anybody on their schedule, and as I've said many times on the show, they're capable of losing to anybody on the schedule.
19-3 in the last 5 seasons, the Steelers in the month of December. Just something that
December football coming up Sunday.
Just something that for everybody to think about. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we will answer your phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Plus, we're taking your tweets at Josh Taylor HD. Stick around.